I like being private. I think it ain't really nobody business. Like listen to the music and you'll know what you need to know.
Right, right.
Yeah, right. Latto said all of that and still went out in the open with 21 while dodging Pics with him, the restaurant. The St. Vincent spot that blew it out the water told fans in the comment that she was camera shy and all. But that one post turned a quiet vacation into loud headlines. Folks started calling the photos marriage pics off vibes alone. What's solid? They were together in public, that's clear. What the photos don't show is a ring close-up or a license. But the energy in those frames said, "We outside together," and that was enough to set the internet on fire. Now here's the part that makes this hit harder. There is a wife in this story. Her name is Yeaaah Joseph. Multiple outlets have reported her as 21's wife for a while now. Some places also talk about some 2023 divorce talk, then admit nobody's posted official paperwork. So yes, the wife exists in public reporting. That's not a whisper, that's in print. Which is exactly why these new pictures felt like a spark near dry leaves. And that is why some folks are saying she is prepping to sue. But let's go back to this random rollout that just didn't feel random. Girl, it felt arranged, funny angles, fuzzy light, just enough intimacy, and most of the noise coming from third parties. That's how you move in 2025. You let a restaurant accidentally play paparazzi, you let the blogs amplify it, and you keep your own captions cute and short. That way, you get the buzz without locking yourself into labels. If we're being honest, this has Latto's fingerprints all over it, strategically, not messy, not thirsty, calculated. She knows images tell a louder story than a paragraph. She also knows 21 is a quiet man. So how do you get a quiet man to step forward? You don't beg. You raise the stakes, you put him in daylight next to you so silence starts to look like a choice. That line is already circling the block online. Is there a fresh verified case number on the books right now? I haven't seen a major outlet show one yet, but the talk is loud and it's aimed right at the pressure point. If a filing hits, this goes from gossip to documents in 1 second. If it doesn't, the pictures still did their job. They made the relationship feel official in the court of public opinion, and they put the wife storyline back on the table where everyone can see it. Bottom line, real pictures, real chemistry, a publicly reported wife in the background, and a rollout that looks less like a leak and more like a nudge. A gentle nudge, sure, but a smart one. Because once the sun hits a secret, it ain't a secret no more. Now somebody, him, her, or the wife has to move next.
Latto, she's mad at me because we had shared that she was in a relationship with 21 Savage, or we claimed that she was based on some stuff that we saw online, and she, her team wanted to pay me to take it down, and I said, we don't do that. And she had put me in a freestyle, which she was the first rapper to do that in a nice way, one that mattered. All the other rappers who talked about me aren't even famous enough to mention. But I thought, like, her getting mad at me was kind of crazy.
After those island pictures dropped, the question wasn't just what we saw, it was how they let us see it. That's where the spin comes in. Latto isn't just running to Instagram Live or the Shade Room to clear the air. It looks like she's letting curated photos do the work, like the silence is part of the story. And we ain't pointing fingers directly, but if she really was behind this leak, then Latto is way smarter than we give her credit. She has always been about showing glam and hiding the heavy stuff. When she talks about marriage or kids, she frames it as something she'd keep private. So these shots fit her exact pattern. Feed the fans a little sweetness, keep the deeper moves tucked away. It lets her shine without giving strangers ownership of her life. That's smart PR disguised as casual living. But there's a chance this might not go the way she wants if 21 clocks that she's behind it. Cause y'all know 21 only opens up when he's with the boys or when he's next to Drake. His whole brand is keeping family business off the mic. He raps, he tours, he makes moves. But when it comes to relationships, he rarely puts words on it. Which is why one clean photo of him standing next to Latto can feel louder than a press release. The machinery around them has been so crazy careful, and I ain't gonna lie, I don't wish this on anybody. Getting your secret out in the open. But that's the problem. It ain't really secret if y'all was comfortable enough to be out in the open. Maybe 21 has really divorced his wife. That'll be the perfect answer to folks who was asking, what about the wife? What about the kids? Some claim paperwork is on the way. But until there's an actual case number or court filing, that's all allegedly. On the other hand, the internet is split. Supporters defend them, talking about they're grown, let them live. I would have if there wasn't a whole rumor about his wife wanting to sue his black. Again, this is allegedly. A lot of this tea might wrong, but I gotta sip and try. Now let's put this story in context, because the past is what makes these new pictures so loud. First, the kids. That part isn't rumor. 21 Savage has 3 children. He's mentioned them, and outlets have reported it for years. Nobody is debating if the kids exist. That's solid ground. When you know a man already has a family life, any new public romance feels heavier. It adds weight to every photo, every caption, every sighting. Next, the wife. Her name is Yeaaah Joseph. That's not a blog whisper. Multiple outlets have called her 21's wife for a while now. Around 2023, divorce chatter started to bubble, but the paperwork hasn't been made public the way fans like to imagine. So what we know is this: the wife is real, the divorce is unclear, and the timeline is messy. And a messy timeline is perfect fertilizer for gossip, because back in 2019, 21 Savage was arrested by ICE. It shocked people to learn he was born in the UK and had overstayed his visa. That's fact. And ever since, fans have tied his marriage to that moment. The theory goes like this: he married Yeaaah for a green card, she knew the deal, and the relationship was more about paperwork than passion. Some even stretch it further, saying that's why people whisper about them being in an open marriage, allegedly. If you both know the rules, then being seen with Latto in daylight isn't a betrayal. It's just part of the arrangement. Again, that's speculation, not a confession. But it's the kind of speculation that makes this rollout feel bolder. Because for years, folks have been clocking details. The tattoo behind her ear with Yeaaah, 21's real name, sneaky matching trips, birthday posts that look too convenient to be coincidence. They never confirmed, but fans built a whole relationship timeline without permission. So when the St. Vincent pictures dropped, it wasn't a surprise. It was proof the photos weren't new information. They were validation for years of fan fiction. Put all that together, kids, a wife with cloudy divorce papers, immigration drama, and years of hidden but not hidden romance. And you get why a simple vacation slide blew up into marriage pics and wife SUES. The past makes the present look like a statement, and if the open marriage whispers are even half true, it would explain why Latto looks unbothered and why 21 seems comfortable stepping into the sun. At this point, it's not just about Latto and 21 Savage, it's about how their situation mirrors other celebrity messes and what lessons we can pull. Because when the streets say married for papers or open marriage, that's not a new song. We've heard similar verses before. Think about Beyonce and Jay-Z. They turned messy whispers into art. Lemonade aired the pain, 444 answered, and suddenly a near divorce became brand gold. The point here isn't to compare catalogs. It's to show how a couple can own a narrative. When you control the beats, people forgive the slip. Latto and 21 aren't dropping albums about their love life, but the strategy is familiar. Let the world talk while you steer in silence. Look at Rihanna and Rocky. They played the long game. For years, it was soft hints, small sightings, then finally, yes, we're together. By the time the world saw maternity photos, the story was already theirs. That's the same lane Latto seems to want. Don't hand the public too much too soon. Let them argue themselves tired until they're forced to accept the new normal. But what is the new normal? Because if 21's marriage to Yeaaah was more about paperwork and she knew that, then maybe both sides were comfortable living in parallel lanes. That would explain why 21 can appear with Latto in full daylight without flinching. It doesn't make it a fairy tale, but it does make sense. In that light, Yeaaah suing feels more like a threat than a certainty. Because if everyone knew the deal, what's the grounds? Again, allegedly, always. But here's the bigger picture. Every famous couple gets fed through this same machine. Either you hide and get accused of being ashamed, or you show up and get accused of performing. There's no winning. The best you can do is decide what you're willing to feed the crowd. So where does this story go from here? That's the part that decides if this is just a spicy week on the timeline or a chapter that sticks to Latto and 21's names for years. Right now, they're standing at a fork in the road, and the next moves are going to tell us everything. If the wife really sues, the vibe changes overnight. A court filing would drag private life into public record. Suddenly, it's not just island pictures, it's timelines, kids, marriage dates, and maybe even immigration paperwork all under a microscope. That would force 21 to answer directly instead of leaning on silence. It would also push Latto into uncomfortable territory, because even if she isn't named in the filing, her name is going to be in every headline, and that can stain a brand, especially for someone still building mainstream pop power. The internet loves mess, but companies and award shows don't like uncertainty. If lawyers walk in, this turns into a real-life soap opera with stakes bigger than gossip. If no lawsuit ever comes, the opposite happens. The noise dies down, the pictures normalize, and Latto and 21 shift into public-ish couple territory. The wife rumors become background hum instead of breaking news, and over time, audiences start to treat them like any other celeb pairing. Sometimes cute, sometimes cringe, but accepted as real. If that's the outcome, the vacation rollout will be remembered as the moment their relationship went from whispers to fact. Now, let's pull Latto's own words into this. She said before she wants to keep marriage and a baby private. That tells you everything about the playbook. She can enjoy being seen without ever confirming the details. If a wedding or child does happen, don't expect balloons and a Vogue spread. Expect hints, little peeks, and a reveal months after the fact. That's how she protects her peace in a business that eats privacy alive. For 21, the legacy play is all about tone. He's lived through ICE drama, gun charges, rap feuds, and still kept his image of quiet strength. If he frames this relationship as grown man, grown choices, he comes out steady. If a lawsuit pulls him into the mud, he'll need that same calm tone to survive it. Fans forgive mistakes, but they don't forgive lies. Staying consistent is his way through.